the series.
Well, I mean, it was a question I asked Snipe Drone at the end of last week, wasn't it? Where I said, like, are you going to get complacent because you just keep winning? Are you going to keep scrimming? Are you going to keep playing? It seems like Acend, they're always in matchmaking. They're scrimming when they can as well. Like, they're doing what they can to stay at the very top. And we'll see whether they can do that here in the Grand Finals.
Here we go then. Game 1 of Grand Finals time. Aquarius CTF, Acend up against the lads. Camouflage in the hands of Septic.
The game that no one would have predicted that would happen in the Grand Finals. But the lads, they just seem to have that confidence about them. They had that self-belief, but maybe that belief gets shot away a little bit as a couple of questionable BR shots mean that all four were dead for the lads temporarily, and Acend are already in the base. They're already pressuring. They're pulling that flag.
Flag out then. Just about to tip over the halfway point as he takes this the long way around the Dynamo nades, getting tagged up in the back by Morgan. The Dutchman trying to put a stop to this flag, and with the help of Cristola, they've done just that. Legend backing off and retreating, gets a kill though on the way out. Little exit frag. Snipe Drone's going to get an extra kill just to keep this flag alive. Momentarily, I thought this flag would die, but in fact, they've gotten well over the halfway point. Sep is the last man to do any sort of damage on it, and now all of a sudden, Snipe Drone's got the touch on the flag, and they've got 4 men alive with 2 of the lads in the respawn screen. Flag's being sent all the way home. 1-0, just like that. Acend take the lead.
A great effort from the lads to try and return that flag, though. They really threw everything at it, but it was just the kind of relentless pressure from Snipe Drone over towards the Dynamo side, where he was reluctant to go down. He threw everything back at the lads and said, look, this is not going to be an easy return for you whatsoever, and he's still alive. Eventually gets shut down, but the lads find themselves 3 members in the death screen, and now Acend are looking to try and dominate once more. Again, they have the player advantage, and they're pushing into the base. They're so quick with how they play this game.
Lottie asked the question, are Acend going to be a little bit cold and maybe momentum on the side of the lads? Well, they're showing no signs of frost here. Getting another flag touch pulled out. Going to be sent home. Nothing's going to come of it at this point, but camouflage now, Dan. 10 minutes on the clock. It could be big for one of these teams.
The lads are just prioritizing staying alive and getting this flag return. They've done job number 1, and now it's about getting map positioning. Aquarius will be rewarded, you'd think, with the camo. Just have to be careful with where he pushes. Seeker might be able to spot him. Seeker did spot him. But can Aquarius stay alive? Just about for now. It's really difficult in these situations, Shirley, when you have the camouflage and you know people are looking for you, and you do get seen. It's not like you're completely invisible. The camouflage is viewable from certain angles and areas. Everyone's looking in 4K, 1080p nowadays, and eventually Aquarius gets shut down because of it.
It looks as though the lads on Acend had their eyes squinted and waited for that shimmer to go across their eyes, and that's exactly what they did. Aquarius tried to scamper away from his last known position, but didn't get far enough. Perhaps just a little bit too predictable this time around. Acend now descending on the base. Cristola scampering away to try and play his life. We're going to see Septic dive in here, only to meet the battle rifle shots of Snipe Drone. Last man alive, Aquarius, and he's on the enemy side of the base. He's going to pull a flag, but they have no problem slaying him on the way home.
Yeah, he pulls the flag, but that just gives them the information that they needed, that they're going to have a free run here. And he has died, and here's the movement from Snipe Drone. There's that curb slide. That just allows you to move with that flag so quickly and efficiently. And one thing I've always been impressed with Acend is how efficient they are with their flag runs. They seem to have it down to a T. 2-0 now to Acend, and this is bad news for the lads. Because I was thinking if the lads, keep it 0-0 or they get the first flag, maybe they can worry Acend a bit. But 2-0 is such a comfortable cushion for Acend that they can start to slay out. They can start to really feel themselves here and make sure they are warmed up.
It was all about trying to keep this game a stalemate for as long as possible to just plant the seed of doubt in the minds of Acend. They've been unable to do that, though. Camouflage about to pop up again. 2 of them have gone the way of lads, but unfortunately, they haven't been able to do anything with it. This flag is going to be stopped for a moment, but Snipe Drone and Legend have both gotten killed. Cristola, the last man alive. We're only moments away from making this a 3-0 lead, but Cristola bursts in towards Engine, and he's trying to clear house desperately as he can. Heatwave picked up, but it's not going to be able to fire a single shot in anger. Shady's moving this flag. He's got teammates on hand to relay it if he needs it. And there it is, punched home. 2 players dive in. 3-0 Acend. They're playing so good.
Take your pick. Both players there ready. Just again showing the teamwork from Acend, and also every player prepared to do the dirty work to make sure that flag goes in. Not showing any signs of weakness here against the lads. You wouldn't have thought that the Acend roster here had a difficult time in the winners bracket finals against Na'Vi, because they look like a different side now. Maybe They just needed that wake-up call that Na'Vi provided them to say, hey, look, we can't underestimate anyone. Let's make sure we make this a quick 5-0 to show why we're the #1 team in Europe.
Flag out the move this time for the lads. Double kill for Septic's going to do his confidence the world of good. Fortunately for Acend, though, he's going to be cut down in his tracks, but two members dead now. Aquarius is still touching the flag, relaying it home towards top carbine, but Cristola puts some shots down, comes out on top this time around, does the Irishman, but unfortunately, Aquarius is going to fumble that flag and lose his life, but they've got it back towards Closet. This could do them the world of good if they can punch this one in.
Is there anyone to train it in? Doesn't matter. Septic will make this at least a game. So the lads not rolling over and showing their bellies just yet. They have got some fight in them. And if they can now take this momentum and continue with this aggression, maybe they can get a couple more flags and make a real game of it. Because I have to say that the lads were kind of throwing themselves at Acend individually, one by one. They were trying to get reads. They were trying to take 1v1 fights. And you can't do that against an Acend roster that is just so individually talented. The lads need to do exactly what they did against Na'Vi. Try and take Acend out of their comfort zone. Make sure you're pushing as a team. Match this aggression, but make sure you're matching it as a team rather than individuals.
Well, something they are matching for the moment, Dan, the very least, is slays. They're not being heavily outslayed here whatsoever. It's just Acend are being so much more efficient with those flag grabs.
The lads making it difficult, though. Aquarius and Cristola have done very well to kind of save those flags. It's the last-ditch attempts that individuals are making, but then there's no one else to kind of pick up the pieces. It's all well and good being the last player and getting that kill, but the other team's going to be spawning far closer to that flag. I will say, though, the lads have done very well to at least move this flag out of the base to make it more difficult for Acend here. They're not going to be able to get the cap. We're going to have a flag standoff.
Flag standoff, but 1v1 engagements, two of them going in the way of Acend. Camouflage player's going to soar into the base, though, and I love that play from Seeker, recognizing he didn't need to get the kill necessarily in the ways of a gunfight, but just needed to stop that push coming through. Gets a kill onto the camouflage player. Septic and Cristola, the last two left alive, trying to play defense, but here comes the Acend push. Flag should get sent home, and we should see 4-1 the score.
I think actually both flags got read, so it didn't matter. Even though the Acend committed so heavily to get the return, the camo play and the trade was enough for that return to come through. The lads then on spawn, got across, got the read themselves, but look how quick Acend are to move once more to get this flag going. 2 kills going in favor of Acend. This one should be a cap. I don't think there's going to be anyone from the lads to stop it. So now it's going to be 4-1. And the lads are starting to show signs of maybe just tiring out a little bit.
They have played quite a lot of Halo today. A monumental run through the losers bracket. Losing the very first series of the day. Caught cold a little bit by Team Twisted. But we're seeing the gulf in class here, certainly in the flag game types and the flag runs. Wow. Been so efficient by the way of Acend. Look how quick they're able to juggle these flags all the way home. Punched it in. Game 1 of our grand finals goes toward Acend, and it's business as usual.
I think Shyway's salivating in the background as well. YouTube videos are starting to be created because the movement we're witnessing from Acend is sublime. Every single flag run was pretty much flawless, and the way they kind of maneuver their way around the map with the objective is definitely something that people need to be looking at and assessing and saying, okay, well, how do we do this as well as them? They're hitting all those slides correctly. They're finding the quickest routes with the flag, even in those environments where the other team is spawned in certain areas, so they're having to change those routes. They still find the speed with their movement and their slides. But you said they weren't getting outslayed. I mean, at the time you said it, I think you were right. I think they weren't too far off, but then the further we got into that game, it just seemed like Acend got more and more comfortable. And it's not like they were trying to play just to heavily outslay their opposition either. They weren't trying to assert any dominance there. They wanted to get these flags in. They were pulling flag after flag to finish this game, get it on the board, try and finish this series so they can get to bed again as European champions.
Now, as we dissect and perform somewhat of an autopsy after game 1, Dan, the lads just playing very reactionary Halo, it would seem at times, and perhaps that's because of the pressure they were put on them by Acend, but was there enough signs there that maybe the Slayer could go a little bit differently for them here?
I don't think that necessarily we can take from an Aquarius ETF and then put that into a Slayer game, but I will say that you're completely right in that they were reacting to everything that Acend did, and there were times where that reaction was enough to stop a flag or to get a counter cap, but they were never kind of taking the initiative to be the aggressors, or they were never given the opportunity to be the aggressors because of the speed and the individual fights that Acend were winning. I will say that if the lads can react to Ascend's pushes and successfully trade out in a Slayer game type and take the lead, then maybe they can get Acend on the back foot, they can take the lead, and they can make Acend comfortable. However, I think if, especially on live fire where those spawns can be very much controlled, if the lads go behind here and Acend get a 4 to 5 kill lead and start to get lads on that spawn cycle, then I'd start to be a little bit concerned, because I think that the lads can very easily fall behind and maybe not have what it takes to get out of that spawn cycle, purely for the fact that they haven't had as much practice as other teams. They've only been a team since, what, last week? So it's not going to be an easy one, but maybe if they take the lead, that might just give them the momentum that they need.
And one thing we did see in that Aquarius CTF game to show maybe signs, a sliver of hope for the lads, is that they were able to get their hands on the camouflage on more than one occasion. And of course, it didn't necessarily go their way at times. You know, we've seen Quadio trying to make a play, Septic also, but you got to power up here on live fire, and that could be huge and dictate the way the game's going to go.
Well, they've got a coach in the Discord. I don't think you can say the same for Acend. I'm fairly certain that they haven't got a coach in the Discord at the moment. So you've got that extra voice, that extra player that can focus on when these things are going to be coming up, and just to give you that little bit of help. I know that it's on your screen and it's visible, but sometimes just an advanced warning or forcing someone to say, look, you are right there, just grab the camo or set up for the camo. Sometimes you need that extra voice in your head. And I do feel like the lads have that with Morga 2 being available and on offer as their coach. So I'm really excited for what this lads roster has to offer in the future. I don't want to see them crumble and just get slapped around 3-0 here. I'm really hoping that they can, you know, show me that fight that they've told me they have, show me that desire, and also demonstrate that they have that play style that they suggest can beat this Acend roster. And it has to start here in this Slayer game type.
Certainly has to start here to give themselves any real chance. You know, objectively, you look towards the next game type, going to be Streets on Strongholds. Historically, the French are really good on Strongholds. So if you really want to stand any chance to win this series, you want to at least take this Slayer game right here and right now. Of course, if they don't take it, the chance there it's going to be a 3-0. Now, looking at things, Dan, we've seen the lads play live fire quite a lot in different game types. We've seen Oddball, we've seen Strongholds. Is there anything that you've seen in those game types? Of course, it doesn't always translate straight into the Slayer, but there's something maybe that caught your eye that could maybe give you some sort of chance here that you think that they could take the win here.
I mean, individually, the shots are on for the lads. It's not like they are missing loads. I mean, I know there was a few whiffs here or there, but I think that's more down to the movement from Acend. They're a tricky bunch to take on in a 1v1 engagement. They almost always have a thruster available to them. They're very good at trading out. So for the side of the lads, I think that as long as they know they can keep a distance from this Acend roster, and live fire, I mean, it does offer some ranged fights. This is where you want to just make sure you're peppering them, your team shots on, and you're not allowing Acend to get up close and personal, because Acend, they do move as a 3. And if you can find Snipe Drone, who is very often the solo player who is just anchoring at times, if you can consistently kill him, get the player advantage, and then take the rest of the Frenchies in a 4 versus 3, you definitely have a chance to win a Slayer game type. And maybe that weapon on your screen there, the sniper rifle, could be the difference maker. We saw Septic pop off with it a little bit earlier when we were here on live fire, and we'll see whether we can do more of the same in game number 2.
And here is game number 2. The keys to success from Dan. Isolate Snipe Drone and kill the Frenchies. It's quick and easy as that. And there we go. 2 kills. Gonna drop for the lads. They're gonna go down, or head up here actually, excuse me, by a kill, but it's not for too long as it's now 3-3. Opening engagements have been even, but Shady's got the sniper rifle here, Dan.
In situations like that, where Cristola gets caught out on his own, you can't allow yourself to be taking 1v2s at any point. Because if you take a 1v1, and you think you're taking a 1v1, against Acend, you're never taking a 1v1. Unless it's versus Snipe Drone, always assume there is another player in the vicinity who's going to clean you up or get some shots on you. Instead, you've got to outdo Acend at what they do at their best. Wolfpack together, move as a 2, move as a 3, and just try and outshoot them. Prioritize who you're going to be actually shooting at. Communicate. Let's shoot Seeker, for example. You've got the gamer tags above heads now. You can prioritize who you're targeting. So I want to see that from the lads. I want to see teamwork. I want to see them baiting and switching and just beating Acend at their own game.
The lads then need to box clever here. Hit them more than they hit you. Get yourself out of trouble. Legend gets a kill onto Cristola though, and Quadios is also going to fall. Both Qs set to the respawn screen along with Septic, who's been eliminated. Morgan, the last man alive for a moment, but Legend takes Cristola. He's only after spawning right back up, but straight back into shots as he gets his wig peeled. And it's a killing spree for Legend. 16 kills to 6, a 10 kill advantage. The lads need to slow it down, Dan.
So confident with his sniper rifle in the position that he's taking as well, and he's going to be able to get the body shot. Gets out the no-scope, thought it was going to be a double, but he's just assisting Snipe Drone here. Snipe Drone and his bodyguard, a Frenchman, just seems to be the perfect way to play Halo. 20-6. This is an onslaught right now. I would be terrified if I'm the lads, and I'd be terrified if I'm Morgan. 0-6 right now. He's going to be looking at those numbers saying, I haven't got a kill yet, lads. I need to get back on the board. And I don't know if that's going to happen very soon with the way that this Legend roster, this Ascend roster are playing, especially Legend, who eventually gets shut down, and it is Morga. He can relax. He's got his kill.
Taking off Goose Watch then. Morga's gotten his kill. Septic also adds another one to the repertoire. Septic gets a double kill, but is taken down by Snipe Drone, and 25 kills to 10. Now, what was a 10 kill advantage very quickly has become 15, and we would have seen the power up getting picked up somewhere along the way, perhaps a burn, but when you're looking towards that kill feed, you're seeing 2 kills for Ascend, only 1 for lads, and if it keeps going that way, it'll be a 2-0 lead for Ascend.
What I will say is that I was speaking about teams kind of practicing their worst game types. If we historically look at the games that Ascend have lost throughout online competition, it's usually Slayers. But then you look at how they performed today, they absolutely demolished Quadrant in Slayer. They are absolutely wiping the floor with the lads right now as well. It seems like maybe they've really worked on their Slayer efficiency, ensuring that they don't drop these maps and allow the other team to get into a series. 32-14. I mean, I don't want to call a game over, and we've seen lads come back from, you know, a 10-kill deficit, but this is close to a 20-kill deficit.
Way back when, Snipe Drone spoke about how their team weaknesses was Slayers. It wasn't necessarily anything that the French players were doing. He felt as though he was the problem. He was a little bit disjointed, a little bit off the pace from the rest of his team. Taking a look at the stats here, he's fixed that problem, Dan. 10 kills and only 4 deaths. With 3 assists as Shady finds another face. The lads are just turtling up, putting their head between their legs here, Dan, just trying to survive.
Yeah, you just, at the moment, you are curled in a ball and you're being repeatedly kicked over and over by the Ascend roster, and you're just hoping that it's going to stop, that the 50 mark is going to be hit soon, because there's no way you're getting back into this. What? This is just, what, a 23-kill game now? Make it 24? Shady's playing like he's playing matchmaking. Get yourselves into game 3. Forget about this one. This one's over. I'm calling it now. Usually I'd say, you know, a comeback could happen. Maybe there's going to be a miracle here for the lads. The Ascender roster are on fire right now, and they're going to close out this game too comfortably.
Now, I'm going to use this license for medicine right here and right now and pronounce time of death in this Slayer at 10:57. It's been that dominant. 44 kills to 22 now, showing no signs of slowing down either. Only needing 4 more kills to solidify game number 2 in Ascend's favor. Now retention's down very quickly as this game dwindles down, needing only 3 towards Street Strongholds, and that's not a game type I want to play against Ascend.
Yeah, I was saying that, you know, the statistics, the history, it's all against the lads here, but I think, you know, they've got that chance. There is that possibility that they could maybe win a couple of maps here, and that belief and that confidence is starting to fade away after these first 2 maps, and we're witnessing Ascend at their very best. The spectacular does come through. It is one of the most one-sided live fire Slayer games you will see here in European Halo, and Ascend look like they are trying to make a statement. Maybe the lads have just got to this point where they've got as far as they think they can get, and even they individually don't think they can beat this Ascend roster. I hope that isn't the case. You've always got to assume you can win, but they certainly look like a team who didn't have any confidence going into that game number 2.
It's an interesting point you raise, because that was something Snipe Drone talked about last week when playing against some of the NA teams in rallies, that when you mentally think you're going to lose the game, then you've already lost the series. If you've lost it in your head before you've even touched the analog sticks, Dan, you're in big trouble, and you'd hope that's not what's been happening. It's not what's transpired here for the lads. But what a statement of intent this is from Ascend. We talked about pre-game, you know, we think they have a chance, and Ascend are laughing at us, say what now? You think these guys have a chance? Let me show you exactly why we're the best in Europe.
It's tough times in a grand final when you're 2-0 down and you've been obliterated, is, I guess, a way we'll put it, but I think it's even more extreme than that. And then you go into Street Strongholds as the next. But as we look back at some of the replays, let's just talk about what Ascend actually did in that game. And they were just relentless with that pressure. They were rotating as a unit. They were pushing the spawns. They were ensuring that the lads couldn't get together as well. Every single time the lads were on a spawn cycle, the push came through. Like 2 down right now, Acend, they push in. They notice that one player spawns up at green. They don't allow the entire team to spawn at green. Instead, they push on that one spawner. They kill him and they say, where's the next? Or where's the next 3? Because at least they know if they kill that one spawner, they've got the player advantage going into the next fight. And even though there were, you know, moments of greatness from lads, there were a couple of individual kills that were quite good, it just wasn't enough to get you back into a Slayer live fire game that was so heavily controlled by Acend. And now we go into Strongholds Streets, which I would argue is one of Ascend's best game types. I mean, we know that Strongholds is amazing for them, but Street Strongholds is even more so because it is so fast-paced.
Players like Formal, we spoke about at the top of the show, Dan, when he speaks, you generally have to listen because he knows what he's talking about. And he spoke about how good this Acend roster is on Strongholds and what a game it is you have to throw it to close out grand finals. You get yourself a Strongholds, your bread and butter, here you go again. It's easy peasy for them, surely.
Now, like, I've been in this position where, like, as a player, I've overachieved or in a tournament or overachieved what people would expect, where you've got that upset, you've beaten a team that's a higher seed than you, and you then get into a scenario where you're playing a team that you maybe weren't expecting to play, and you're playing a team that definitely should beat you. When you go 2-0 down and you're getting hammered like this, it's very easy for your mind to go, oh, it's all right, we got top 2. Who cares? Like, it doesn't matter what happens at this point. You need to either take that and say, look, we've got nothing to lose. Let's throw everything at them here and at least give them a game. We cannot afford to just roll over, show our belly, and give them a 3-0 here.
Game 3 then of your grand finals. Acend on match point like they have been so often before. They've never and have never lost an online tournament in Europe since October 2020. And they don't look like doing things that way today. They've already got 2 maps on the board, needing just 1 more. 2 strongholds, though, in favor of the lads. They're looking good at early doors here.
The lads have got to match the speed of Acend. We know Acend like to play Strongholds fast. They will go from A to C to B, and they rotate as a team, consistently pushing you off spawn, always looking to try and take that advantage of any sort of situation where they have that extra player. The lads can do exactly the same back to them. And if they manage to get Acend on that spawn cycle, if they're the ones who have got control of the 2 strongholds and they're consistently scoring, they can really put a big chunk of points on the board and do some damage to this Acend roster. But we know that Acend always have that capability of getting back into a game. In previous Strongholds games, we've seen them go 170 points unanswered. That's the capability they have.
They have been in situations before against the ropes, particularly in Strongholds, where they've been down by 170 points to maybe 110, particularly against Quadrant and the likes Navi. They always seem to come back, they battle back, they find that extra gear, they find that extra speed. Shady gets a kill, but Morgan answers back there. It's going to be 3 dead momentarily. Sika, the last man left alive, so although the lads are down on Strongholds for the moment, they're starting to transfer C in their favor. No contests coming through just yet. Morgan giving up A to prioritize staying alive here and being a factor on the map. C's going to transfer over towards Acend, but the lads are also going to take back A. Trip cap in effect for the moment. Snipe drone and boys spawning towards PD. Morgan respects that, tries to back down, ultimately loses his life. Rockets though in the hands of Quadios. They're all out, but the damage is done. Grisola last man alive, but 3 members up for Acend. He has it all to do.
Again, we can go back to my point of, you know, certain maps just benefiting players in a different way. Morga, who was struggling a little bit in the previous, I mean, the whole team was, I guess, but he certainly was highlighted not having many kills, whereas now he is the leading Slayer on his team. He just seems to be more at home here on Streets, but as I was saying that, all 3 strongholds were turned in favor of Acend. That's one thing Acend do really well, Jersey, is that when they are trip capped against them, they usually overturn it and get a trip cap of their own. They don't usually just get 1 and then push in and get the second. They seem to like flood themselves and spread themselves around the map, take 1v1s and 2v2s and somehow trip cap, but the lads have done exactly the same back to them here.
Morgan then performing a little better on the streets. Perhaps agrees him a little bit more, like Dan said. The problem is Acend, born and raised on these streets, molded by them. Down by a couple of strongholds for the moment. They're looking to change that here. Arcade going in their favor. Septic gets in, puts his body on the line, does enough damage there. The reset hasn't come through yet, but Cristola has gotten a kill. Reset will eventually come to pass. Seek and Legend trying to push up red. Unfortunate for them, it's going to lead to nothing but murder as Cristola puts some shots down, gets that kill onto Legend as well. Killing spree for him. He means business now all of a sudden.
Well, maybe some of these lads players are kind of gentlemen in the sheets, but freaks in the streets from what I'm seeing at the moment. This seems to be a far more comfortable map for them. And Acend, even though I said it's one of their best game types, I talk about this crux, and maybe, you know, there are certain teams that match up well against others and play styles. It seems like lads have found something here. And if they can take this momentum, if they can continue this run, win this map, what would that say to the Acend roster? Acend roster who know they're good at Strongholds.
Second set of rockets then. In control of the Dutchman, Morgan. Fires it towards B. That's going to be enough to get the reset. He's got one rocket left. Pops that player down to no shield. Challenges it again. The confidence flowing through his veins. But Legend says no. But 4 dead now. Triple cap still in effect for the lads. Scoring all the while.
I mean, how have the lads just gone from being absolutely embarrassed on Live Fire Slayer to then playing like this and matching Acend and actually making Acend look fairly average on this game type? I've heard some of the US pros say that this game type is just a Slayer, and it's just a Slayer where you pick up objective on the way, and you've just got to make sure you're winning your fights, you're running as a team. Well, right now, lads are proving that if that is actually how this is played, they seem to have found the right method, the right rhythm, and that is outslaying Acend, putting some serious time on the board, and continuously backstabbing, pushing the extra stronghold, going for that trip cap as Cristola gets another one.
I love that as well from Cristola, recognizing 3 members, getting C and rotating over towards red, and he gets himself a lovely little backstab there. C, though, still in contest. Septic and Legend gonna trade lives. Shady in the respawn screen. We've seen Seeka trying to get this A stronghold. He's gonna get assault rifled in the back, though, and Morgan making sure he sends the Frenchman packing. Couple of shots into Shady, gonna back him down back towards C. Player dies in red. Cristola gets himself 2 kills. That's gonna help their cause no end. I love this from Morgan. Turns his attentions back towards back tower, realizing the spawns could come towards Cafe, but no, they're in C, and a couple of slays go in their favor.
I mean, we speak about comebacks, right, for Acend, and can they get all those points that the 170 unmatched point comeback they had against Quadrant? They're potentially going to need something similar here against the lads who have found themselves with such a huge lead, but they have to make this count. They have to capitalize from the situation they find themselves in now, because if they allow Acend back into the game, we know full well if you give them an inch, they're going to take a mile, they are going to get back into it. So lads got to keep that pressure up, keep that confidence, keep challenging this Acend roster. Say, you know what, we're not scared of you, we will take these fights, we've got nothing to lose, we want to make a series of this.
Now, the meanwhile, the lads did get their hands on the 3rd set of rockets in succession, although possession did transfer over towards Snipe Drone. He was able to put it to good use. The lads are starting to score again now. They've got C and B, and also getting a couple of kills over here towards A. We could see a potential triple cap very quickly here as we're seeing Acend spawning up back down towards Station, and the fight, no doubt, is going to rumble on. But 200 point threshold now, the lads have just passed through, with C finally getting put under control of Acend. Morgan's set up out here towards C, and they're putting the pinch on now. The collapse is coming through. This is exactly what you want to see. Keep them under pressure, don't let them out, give them nothing for free.
Now, I'm not a biased caster, but I'm very happy with what's happening right now, because it means we've potentially got a series here. I think viewers should be happy as well, but no one is going to be happier than the lads with how they are currently performing. 214 on the clock, and they are still scoring. They're constant rotations. It's messy, right? There's not much structure to it. It's just very simple of, we push this together, we kill, we push again, we kill. It's almost caveman-like, but it's working, because that's how Acend play this game type, and the lads are matching them every single stride, and they are so close to winning this game and taking us to a game 4.
Slowly then, tipped over 225 points. Very good, very nice, as Snipe Drone is in the respawn screen.
Very good, very nice.
There it is.
Good, very nice. Is that what you meant?
Very good.
Is that what you meant?
That's exactly what I meant, and I'm glad that you've done that for me. Done that perfectly, but C is transferring over towards Acend. Cristola, the only man in the respawn screen for the lads, so they've got a full complement of players here. That's going to be game 3 going towards the lads. All of a sudden, Dan, we've got exactly what you ordered. A series on our hands.
I was counting them out. I was saying that, you know, like it's so easily mentally to just accept that this series is over for the lads, but they had to take that and allow it to fuel them in this game 3, and it really did. I think they just got a kick up the bum and they said, what are we doing? Like, we're scared against this Acend roster. Why should we be? We've already overachieved when you look at what actually we did in this tournament. Why don't we go at one step further? Let's be confident in our individual fights. Let's challenge where they don't expect us to challenge. Let's be the team that they don't think that we are. And, you know, maybe it was a poor performance from the Acend roster. I mean, Shady and Legend, how many times have you ever seen them drop negative scores like that? Both of them, negative 13, really struggling to keep up with the pace of what the lads did. But now the lads, they need to push on from this. They need to take this and fuel it even more so that they can, you know, go to a game 5 and who knows, maybe do the unthinkable and take us to a bracket reset.
And then something we spoke about for months and months and months, and what's almost years now, and is years, is that the keys to success to take down what was then the Cartel roster, now the Acend roster, is to try and shut down the likes of Legend and Shady nice and early. That's exactly what we've seen there. Both players shut down completely to a 7-20 games, and like you said, that doesn't happen very often at all.
It really doesn't, and I think that how do the likes of Legend and Shady respond to that, right? Young players who not very often are in these scenarios where they do drop statistics like that. I think Lottie brought it up earlier, saying that Acend are so used to winning. What happens when they are losing? What happens when they are behind? How do they answer back? And, well, we're going to have to see in Oddball live fire. Is this going to be now a case of where the lads have kind of prodded the beast a little bit too much and Acend come out swinging here and demonstrate what they're made of and just embarrass the lads in a game again like they did in the Slayer live fire? Because if that's anything to go by, I'm a little bit worried for the lads. But certainly, they look like a different roster, did the lads. You would not, like, that is night and day. 250 to 51 on Stronghold Streets, but then 50 to 27 on Slayer live fire. If that doesn't tell you that certain teams have better game types and they're more practiced on certain games, then I don't know what does.
And it's almost indicative that I'm getting excited because Acend are dropping maps. This is the 3rd map they've dropped in the tournament, Dan. It's the first time they've ever dropped that many maps in a tournament ever. So it's a ringing indictment to how good that team is that when they lose one map, and sometimes it's a Slayer, we get really excited. It's like, oh, maybe they are bleeding, maybe their shields are cracked, but the lads still have a big job on their hand here to get this next game under the belt.
Yeah, I mean, if we go to North America, we're suddenly the biggest Acend fans in the world because we want to see them doing well, right? And it's not like that we don't want Acend to win, because I definitely want to see the success. I want to see this Acend roster get better and better, but maybe to get better, they need to see other European Halo talent start to match them and give them proper games. So that does make me happy that the European Halo scene is competitive. When we look across other regions like ANZ and LATAM, it's been dominated by one team over and over and over again. And I don't want EU to fall into that same trap where it's just like, you know, North America's looking across saying, oh, well, it's Acend, but there's no one else. We'll see what Acend do when they come over. And the lads, by taking games off them, by Na'Vi taking games off them, that starts to raise a few eyebrows and people saying, okay, well, maybe there is a little bit more competition in this roster. When Valencia comes around, or even prior to that, when Kansas City comes around and a lot of these EU rosters are in North America, suddenly when you're facing Quadrant, you're facing Mocket, you're facing Na'Vi, you're facing the lads, and you're saying, well, actually, I don't want to be playing these guys in pool play. I don't want to be playing them because I've seen what they can do against Acend, who are arguably the best team in Europe when it comes to online competition. European Halo is in a really healthy spot. I know it's very easy for me to say that as a European commentator and like, I want European Halo to do well, but we weren't in this spot in Halo 5. We weren't in this spot in Halo 4. Like, I don't think we've ever been in a spot like this where we have competition who can go over to North America and actually get into championship bracket consistently. But I think we're in that spot now, and it's a really good place.
The old expression almost rings true here, Dan, right? Iron strengthens iron, and that's what we're seeing here. Acend beating these teams handily for so long, so easily, but all of a sudden these teams are starting to pick up on some of those tricks and some of those bad habits that Acend have, and maybe the playbook's a little bit more exposed now than it has been ever before, with them dropping maps to different teams and so on and so forth. So now that they have started to draw a little bit of blood from these teams, perhaps we won't see as many players, you know, turtle up and hide away from this team when the pressure comes, and they'll stand to the fore and try to take these teams on, this Acend roster head to head.
Well, I do think that's why Acend have found so much success, right? It's because their confidence, they just fly at everyone, and the other teams look at them and say, they're flying at us, what do we do? Do I shoot my gun? Challenge them. Like, show them no respect. Pretend you're playing on LAN, because I know it's difficult online sometimes, and you just assume that you're going to be outshot because of connection or whatever. Forget that. Trust in your ability. trust that you can actually outshoot them, and trust in your teammates, because as long as you're getting help and your teammates are shooting with you, then forget about connection. It doesn't matter. You can just get those shots done, and you can demonstrate your teamwork, and you can at least put it into practice, because at the end of the day, it's all practice for LAN. That's where the main competition is. North America is so far ahead of Europe right now. We saw that at Rally. I mean, I know that Europe are doing well, like top 12, top 8, but when you look at the very top of North America and the top of Europe, there is a significant gap. And the only way that closes is with healthy competition, where scrims can happen and teams can improve in Europe. And I think that is going to happen now here because of what we've seen from this tournament and how the lads are starting to push, you know, the rest of the top 4. And that goes even deeper down to top 12, down to top 24. Teams are starting to get better. They're starting to try and push themselves into the Pro Series. And that's why I love this Pro Series. Week after week, we're seeing different teams progress from Open. And we're seeing our first Open team actually make Pro Series next week in Fantastic. So congratulations to them. But as for this series, we have to find a winner, right? And I think that Acend know they want to get this done. They don't want to be going into the late hours of the night. It's already, what, 11:15 here. So over in France, it's 12:15. So we're already into the next day for them. They want to make sure that they finish it. They don't want to be going into a reset, because then suddenly different things start to come into the equation as to fatigue and whatnot. So for the lads, get the job done here and take it to a game 5. But for Acend, they have to finish it. If this goes to a game 5, the lads are going to be full of confidence.
The issue I have here and now is that Live Fire Oddball was a game type that the lads played against Navi only a few brief moments ago, and unfortunately for them, they found themselves on the receiving end of a 2-0 hammering, 200 score to 100. So it was significant enough, it was consistent enough that they have their work cut out for them here. This isn't Navi, this is a step above. Cream has risen to the top. You're in the big leagues playing against Acend in grand finals, and you've got to get the job done here and now.
Seeker with the heat wave is going to absolutely shred through, get the double kill, but Septic is there to clean up the pieces like a janitor, sweeping on through with his broom, and he's juggling those weapons to try and bring them to someone else, but unfortunately, he ran straight into the entire Acend roster who had spawned towards Garage. Maybe he was hoping that his team would be spawning over on that side, and now Snipe Drone going to do exactly the same thing. He's going to be playing with the heat wave, and he's going to make it work.
How nice of the lads then. Maybe the Amazon delivery driver wasn't around as Snipe Drone finds the body of Morgan. Both those weapons gifted to Acend, and the last thing you want to do is gift the goodies over to Acend. They'll make you pay, and Snipe Drone's doing just that here and now.
Here comes the juggles again. Everyone just doing their best clown impression to see if they can get those power weapons away from the other team. And now Acend, as you quite rightly give us a little bit of a theme tune from the circus, instead have managed to set up quite healthily over here. They managed to get the ball to back tower, but it's going to be a question of whether the lads have got what it takes to break that setup.
Septic then, last man alive. As you can see, Shady desperately trying to find him, and he's located him, but Septic finds the skull of the Frenchman and blows him out of live fire. The kiss of death. Will that be enough then to catapult his team? Starting to score a little bit here with a poor man set up over towards tower, but unfortunately 2 slaves go against him with Morgan, Cristola, and now Septic meeting his fate. The death screen, Quadios last man alive. 16 seconds now, and climbing for Acend.
What shots coming from across the map to try and at least do some damage to Legend, but notice how he keeps peeking to give as much information as possible to his team, and camouflage is up as well, but neither team will really want to give up this current state to go for the camo. It's not as influential as you think it would be in these environments. It's more influential in a situation where the team is heavily set up and you've not been able to break it, but in that current scenario where actually trades were going back and forth between the two teams, it was just a case of whoever won the trade would then pick up the camo. It is Morga, but he gets shut down.
Something we're seeing through the POV of Legend as well. A few little jitters, and I'm wondering if perhaps his network connection isn't doing too well right now, and perhaps that is why Acend have opted to tell him to hold onto the ball, because that is the most effective he could possibly be. Big beatdowns come down, but the Frenchman gets the better of the Dutchman, and this time Legend taking down Morga. And almost just tipping over the 50-point threshold now are Acend. Looking comfortable while doing it too. Have lost 2 members in the process though. We will see a play ball very shortly, you would think, but the lads' push isn't coming very quick here, Dan.
Yeah, it needs to be a little bit faster. Septic does eventually at least get some damage. We'll take down Legend, but all the meanwhile, the ball was still...
taken. Ball taken. Ball taken. Ball taken. Ball carrier killed. Ball taken. Ball taken. Eagle team nearing victory. Ball taken. Ball taken. Facing elimination. Round 2. Ball taken. 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 Eagle team halfway to victory. Ball taken. Ball taken. Ball taken. Ball taken. Ball taken. Ball carrier killed. Ball taken. Ball carrier killed. Ball taken.
Lost a series since October 2020, which we've been mentioning quite a few times in this broadcast. So the lads have to try and do something a little bit different to try and upset that.
Quadios, the last man alive here. They haven't got too much time left here. Tournament life on the line. 25 seconds is all that separates them between going home and perhaps some glory. Acend closing ever so closer now towards that finish line. Crawling. 90 seconds. The lads' push just isn't coming quick enough here, Dan. They've been able to swell and stop the push. Quadios has managed to get back tower. He's leaked through, but he's been able to milk his life a little bit longer. Sika gets the job done.